Well, hello, and welcome. Slight apologies for being a little late. I had to run from the other side of multimedia, from radio to TV, but hey, I'm here. But I'm here with good news. Folks, there is nothing more scarier than uncertainty or not knowing. And if you look at elections in this side of the world and how the stakes are so high when it comes to elections, stories upon stories, speculation upon speculation, and if you are not informed or you don't know what's happening, it just could spell disaster. And as a media house, you know, your responsibility to people is to inform, entertain, and educate. And in terms of informing and educating, Multimedia is launching the election headquarters ahead of the 2016 election. That's literally all you need to know with regards to elections in all the constituencies across the nation. There's even an app that you click and gives you information probably on an hourly, daily basis, which we're going to explain to you. But nothing would work if you don't join in or if you don't add up to it. And so today we're going to explain to you how it works, why we should keep it, the benefits of it, which I know it's going to be immense. I hope all media houses, you know, have something like that to reach out to the masses. Because as I speak to you today, though it's 2016, people vote because they were given 10 cities. People vote because they got a bulb syringe. People vote because they got a bag of rice. In this day and age, handing over the most ultimate power that you've ever have because you got 10 cities. Folks, you need election headquarters to get educated. My name is Nana Sakwa IV, Akwamoadu Masahini, and also your host. When I come back, I'll introduce my guests. Two handsome boys, don't move.
Your vote is more than a temperament, more than party colors, more than family history. Your vote is the future. Join the conversation on Election 2016 on TV, radio, online, and mobile. Hashtag ElectionHQ.
Before you vote this November,
Before you start deciding which side gets your ballot,
start hearing the issues. Indeed, follow the news as it happens
and get thought-provoking analysis.
Join us for unprecedented coverage of elections 2016. Your election headquarters is on Joy News,
on TV,
radio, online,
and mobile.
Thank you very much for staying on the election headquarters. What is it all about? With me in the studio are two very good brothers. You know, there are some people who are your work colleagues and there are some who are work colleagues and your brothers. These guys are work colleagues and brothers. Sitting next to me, even though he's my brother, we're also going to find him, Ambanta Musa. He's not been on my show before. It's Kofi Aduma of Adum News, Adum News editor. Kofi Aduma Mwangwani. Kofi, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to have you on my show. Quite exciting. And then I also have Malik Dabu. If you can analyze news and politics like my brother can, then you are a tough one to crack. Malik, you're welcome. Malik is also editor, My Joy Online. Malik, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Kofi, let me start with you. I mean, what's election headquarters all about?
Thank you very much. First of all, you know, Multimedia has been a reference point anytime election coverage is mentioned in the nation Ghana because of our track record and what we've done previously. And so our viewers and listeners expect so much from us. And this year, we plan going a step higher by making sure they get the information on time and they get the right information. That is our key principle this year. Because the elections this year, as you know, are going to be quite challenging. Both parties, the main parties, are very, very alert. And we in the media fraternity will also have to do our work. And so Multimedia, all the platforms have been organizing lots of workshops and then some programs that I believe has equipped us very well. And we are so much ready for this year's assignment. And so we are looking at giving massive coverage in terms of online, on TV, on radio, and even a new application that has been launched today, which is My Joy Online and Adom Online, which makes it quite easy to access the news, getting the pictures as they happen. And so basically that is the general skeletal picture of what the election headquarters this year is going to look like.
Well, let me let viewers know that maybe some may have heard your voice but haven't seen you. So that's Kofi Adom, who reads the 6 p.m. news for Adom, and then also hosts Pampas. Those who have watched your Pampas who have seen your face, but those who have probably heard you read the 6 p.m. news on Adom have not seen you. So that's good old Kofi Adom. Malik, are we desperate to jump the gun? One would say, why don't you just wait for the EC to come and declare? Why are you so much in a hurry to probably declare who won or who lost?
Well, thank you, Nana. And sitting here, it feels like the lawyer sitting in the witness box because I often sit where you sit.
I know.
But in answer to your question, I think we are starting late. It is not the case that we are late, but because the political season this year, for some strange reason, is quite slow. I've covered elections. I covered elections here in 2008. I know that the campaign started 2 years before the election. The governing party was out there. The opposition party was out there. I was here in 2012. I covered the elections. I know how much work went into the elections. So I do know that we are starting a bit late, primarily because the various political parties themselves are not engaged in any active campaigning at this point. But we do not need to wait for the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission has its job cut out in regulations and laws passed by the Commission itself and regulations that are contained in the Constitution and other laws. So it has its job to do. Our job, as Kofi pointed out, is to help the Ghanaian electorate determine whose message carries weight and who is promising to solve their problems and whose promises sound believable. So our job clearly is to provide a platform, and I think that we obviously are the biggest platform in this country. Until quite recently, we were the only media house that has 3 prominent platforms: radio, online, TV. Now, beyond that, you have English, you have local language. And we are doing extremely well in both languages. So when people want to decide who to vote for, they certainly will go to that house where they can rely on the information that they get. And over the years, I think we have done well for ourselves and for this country by ensuring that when we churn out information, the information we put out there is cross-checked, verified, so that people can rely on the information that we put out and take decisions. We do that in the hope that when they take those decisions will be informed ones. So that's basically what we do. And as the name of our coverage itself is, election headquarters, this is where you get all the facts. This is where you get all the issues broken down into discernible minutes so that people can understand and appreciate them, so that the people can take informed decisions on the basis of what we see. We don't get involved in determining who people should vote for. What we do is give them the information so that they can make informed choices.
Malik, let me stay with you. It's a very tricky year. Because as of now, we don't even know if we're going to vote in November or if we're going to vote in December. I mean, it's a very tricky year. I mean, how's the headquarters going to handle this year?
No, I think that is settled. That we are voting in November is settled.
Has the law been passed?
Well, it has not been passed. Steps have been taken. The law has been gazetted, and after it's gazetted, the majority leader Alban Bagbin took us through the processes that are needed to be taken through before the law will happen. I think that steps have been taken. All the major stakeholders, i.e. the political parties, the Electoral Commission itself, religious groups, government, everybody is aligned to the idea that the elections ought to be in November. That is so because we do not want to have the previous situation as happened in 2000 and 2008 where there were runoffs. So you have to conduct the runoff as the Constitution within 21 days after the first round. Now, when you do that, the latest you can have a president-elect is 28th or 29th December. And that is assuming the elections are conducted in December 7, as is often the case. When that happens, you have barely a week, because the Constitution also says the new president, the swearing-in ought to take place on January what? 7th. So that leaves you with such a narrow gap within which to do the most important business of transition. If one party, if the governing party were to lose as it happened in 2000 and as it happened in 2008. So I think there is a general unanimity that the elections have to come on November 7. I think the smaller matters about passing the law and making this legal and legalizing and amending the Constitution for this to happen, I think those will happen. So we can take it for granted that the election will happen on November 7.
I'm going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, I'm going to Kofi just to find out, I mean, aren't we all already made up our minds who we're going to vote for, whether election headquarters or head office, you know, so how much more can we do, as Malik is saying, to better inform people as to whether they, you know, at least pause before they thumbprint? Stay tuned. Thank you very much for staying. This one says, Joy News, you are indeed trailblazers in broadcasting. This was Samuel Axon, and the number is 0560 800 000, 0560 800 000. This is one issue which I really want to hear your take on it. This is a love note for from Bagbin to my brother Kofi Adoma. Says, hey, I never knew Kofi Adoma could speak English this fluently. It's amazing how they pick up a character when they're reading their tree news, isn't it? Nana, the election headquarters is going to announce results from the polling stations. David from Kumasi. But then, Kofi, before the break, I just wanted to find out, I mean, what more we can do to better inform people? Even if I'm going to vote A or I'm going to vote B, what more can the election headquarters do to enrich my decision?
Well, we as broadcast journalists will need to understand that mostly listeners and viewers admire and understand and sometimes take what we say as the truth. And so as our duty, we need to guide them and guide them well by letting them know the issues as they are, for them to make an informed decision. Because it's quite interesting that you get people voting just for voting's sake. And it's our duty to let them understand the impact of that action. That you could be in slavery for 4 years. That is, if you don't vote wisely. You could lose something vital. That is, throwing away a party that might be holding the keys to a better future for the nation. And so we have to find a way to guide them, and that is what this year we will be doing. For instance, we have a lot of programs both on radio and TV, and these are going to be the main pipelines through which we are going to chant this information. For instance, you know, our market, the tree market, is quite interesting. And it's, you know, the English market, they can read for themselves and understand the issues. If you talk of budget, they just sit down, listen, and they can make the decision. Yeah.
They'll even correct you.
Yeah, sure, sure. But the tree market is quite interesting. They don't get the, you talk of GDP, and the politician will twist it in a campaign message differently. I remember hearing one politician saying, let me just quote in tree what he said. Maybe I tremona mama discover moi. What's the sign I'm saying? Or see only nyaki say yes, most of the time saying and so to the rural old lady, she understands that
things are better
now. Yeah, now the CD, when he takes just $1, he gets a lot of CDs. And so
previously,
you just get
one.
just
Now
one
get at
CD.
least 4.
And so it's our duty to guide them to understand the impact. Yes, you get much money with regards to changing just some few dollars, but the impact, the economic impact, we will have to break it down to the understanding. And so that is the challenge we have as the local language medium. For instance, you go to the villages and a politician will come and tell you, oh, this doomsaw matter, don't worry. We've just put them off so you can get light. And so, and yes, it could be true.
But are these real stories or?
Yeah, they are real stories. Wow. They are campaign messages. And yes, they may have reasons to back these campaign messages, but it's our duty to go deeper and understand if really that is what it should be.
I mean, I know people who have their radio set tuned to Adam and probably broken off the set. And my own auntie, Auntie who lives in Chebi, Auntie is one that listens. I mean, everything, anything that happens on Adam FM, she's updated to it. And I know there are hundreds and hundreds of people like that. It is imperative that, I mean, whatever you are saying is well researched and is a fact. I mean, are you going to that extent, or you're thinking that, well, they can't read and write, so let me just water it down?
That, as I did indicate, our duty is more difficult because we will have to read in English, digest, and then chant the message out in a language they understand. Just like, Nana, you sit and you have your chami. What you say, your chami will have to break it down, and that is, we the local language, that is what we do. And so we try to let the people, so we don't read news, but we tell the stories to their understanding. And we need to understand the issue before we can do that. And as I said, we have gone through a lot of training workshop, and I will say we are up to the task this year, and we will make sure. For instance, Jason Sem, our morning show on Adom, will be doing a program called Kiteke, where we are going to the rural areas, region by region, getting the people understanding on what issues they are going to base their votes on. And that will inform the discussion as to whether people are really informed to making the correct decision. And so that is one part. The other programs, Belgium will be doing a similar thing. Kasea will also be looking at constituency by constituency. There are some constituencies that you get there and they have Mugabes. You get there and you realize the extent of development, it's so bad. But they still get the same members of parliament voted for every year. Is it that they just vote because they are voting? Do they understand what a change could mean? So that is what we will be going to the constituencies to focus on as well. And Pampaso, for instance, which I host, we will also be doing similar programs, getting to the people and then understanding and letting them understand why they need to vote and vote wisely.
Malik, the English side, everybody assumes or presumes that, oh, because they can understand English, then they comprehend what's going on. But sometimes we are even worse or equally bad as those who don't speak English.
Yeah, that's true. There's, I think it's too simplistic to think that to the extent that one can read and write in English, one is informed and that one understands anything one reads or one listens to. Whenever I have the opportunity to sit where you sit, there are times when, and I'm responding to your suggestion about how do we hold the people to account? Do we do that on the basis of facts, or how do we do that? Whenever I'm sitting there and I'm talking to politicians especially, because of the amount of work that we do, looking for information and verifying the facts and checking and cross-checking and double-checking them, a lot of the time, by the time the show is done, the political party to which the persons whom I'm talking to belong, a lot of their foot soldiers get upset because their person who was on the show was not allowed to do for want of a better word, vile propaganda and get away with it. I think that is what distinguishes us from many of our colleagues in other places, that we do the hard work, we get the information, we check and double check it and cross check the information, because we respect the people who listen to us. That when we give them information, we want them to be able to rely on that information. So that reliability is important, the credibility is important, the integrity is important. Now, that's why we are rolling out programs, as Kofi is pointing out, programs that will better inform the people. So we rolled out the ballot box. And we have taken the ballot box to Cape Coast, we have taken it to Kumasi, we have done it in Klotokole, in Accra, and the next one is going to Ho. The idea simply is, go put ballot boxes in vantage points in a certain constituency. Let the constituents in that constituency take pieces of paper and write the issues that will determine who they vote for in November's election. And it's been a roaring success. What has come out has been a big eye-opener. In Cape Coast, for example, there was a parliamentary candidate who said, well, if somebody didn't have a job, they should give her the person's CV, and he will provide a job. The counter question was, how sustainable is this? In Kumasi, we had a similar situation where parliamentary candidates had no idea what their party's campaign messages and what their party's policies and programs are.
Wow.
And the electorate who flocked to the grounds, where some of them were clearly upset, some of them were disappointed that the persons who are contesting on a particular party's ticket to become members of parliament do not even know what their party's programs and projects are. So how are you able to sell a message? How can you convince me, the voter, that if I vote for you, you are capable of addressing the problems that concern me, when you don't know them in the first place, and when you haven't put in place any concrete measure to deal with them when you come into office? So it's been a huge eye-opener. We've also, and when these things happen, radio is carrying it, TV is carrying it, online is covering it, and we want to cover all the base so that if at the material moment that the program is being done, you don't have access to TV, you can listen on radio. If you don't have access to TV and radio, you can read online. So we have Major Online, and we have a redeveloped website, and it's fabulous. It's been, a lot of people have been excited by what we have rolled out. And Kofi was talking about a new app that Rankard developed for us. If you go to Google Play Store and type majoronline.com, you can just download it and install it on your device, and you will have access to all of this information. So we are doing election headquarters, and we have ballot box, which is touring. The objective is to do it in all the 10 regions. And on TV too, we have caucus. And I'm sure you know caucus. We have the various political parties, majority caucus on Wednesdays, minority caucus on Thursdays, and joint caucus on Fridays. So on majority caucus, the majority party in parliament is the governing National Democratic Congress. What it does, what we do with the show, is to allow them to choose their own host, choose their own guest, choose their own topic, and then come on the show and discuss it, so that whatever message that they want to tell their adherents, they can do that. Then the next day, you have a check by the minority. So the minority will also come, that's the MPP. They also choose their own host, they choose their own guest, they choose their own topic, and then they come and have a discussion. Then on Friday, we have joint caucus, where you have a combination of both the MPP and the NDC, and you have Jifa Bampo, our own Jifa Bampo, one of the most knowledgeable persons in this business when it comes to politics and other matters, hosting that show, so that she can bring balance in the discussion. So those are two core, very important programs that are currently running, and they're doing extremely well, extremely well.
Well, let me take a break, and then when I come back, I will catch up with your messages. But my guests are just winning, funds out there. This, Malik says, one says you are a mentor, and now they want your number. Kofi Adoma, you've made my day. I'll catch up with some of your messages, but bring your messages in 0560 800 000, because Everything we're doing here is for you out there. So your feedback, your input, what more we can add, what to take out is very, very vital. 0560 800 000. We're talking election headquarters. When we come back, I'll let you know why I'm not excited about voting. There's something I'm not hearing. Stay tuned. Thank you very much, and we're discussing election headquarters ahead of this year's elections. And as you know, elections this side of the world is do or die. And probably that's what election headquarters is. Don't you understand that? Listen, it's not do or die, it's just exercising your franchise. Election headquarters, it's a nice development. Congrats, Joy. I think the date for the elections must be explicit as early as possible. Thanks. This is Kojo Osang. And this one says, I pray that IGP, as I affectionately call him, does not shut down the telcos on the eve of election. I knew what he and the ruling cabinet can do. The will of the people must be supreme. Okay, I hear. Wish there was time so that we talk about that thing. I think we've all taken it out. Yes, I found a World Cup. The guy suggested something, and I think everybody is just kiki. And I find out that just briefly that we seem to want the rights of everything, but not the responsibilities that goes along with it. I don't say he should shut it down, but I can understand where he's coming from. And people have given so many examples that, if a policeman gets a bribe, would you shut down the police force? I mean, that doesn't collapse the country. But if somebody sent something to say, hey, I've seen an adult with a ballot box running through Kantamanto, that could just cause a fire. I'm not saying you should shut down, but it's a cause for concern to say, look, let's look at how we can regulate it. Just brief comments. Malik.
Well, I have a different view. My view is that when you give security people this kind of carte blanche to take a decision like that, they will find a way of justifying it, and they will take it. They will curtail the people's rights, and they will do it wantonly without any justification. I think that there are far more serious matters when it comes to our elections. All the political parties, all of them, NDC, MPP, PPP, CPP, PNC, all of them have consistently complained about the failure of the police to deal with people who create problems during elections. For years, the police have not...
That's not fair. That's not fair. You see, there are so many ills and all over the world, right? This guy was just talking about this new craze of WhatsApp, social media, which is sort of a new craze which is catching up. And everybody puts whatever it is on there. And he's saying that on elections, look, this thing could cause mayhem.
No, why does anybody think that it is more important for the security of the country during elections than at other times? Why does anybody think
that's
that?
When the stakes are high. Let me that's when the stakes are high.
No, but I totally disagree. I don't think that we should give anybody any right to do that.
I also don't support the closure of social media because, yes, it is a new development, and currently it has
I'm not supporting closure. I'm just supporting. I'm just coming along right that look, it's an area that we need to look at.
Sure. Have you affected your mind to the cost to you as a media house? Because on that day, all the hundreds of persons that we are training across the country, from Ho to Bunkrugu Yunyo to Palwago in my village to Sandima, all of these people will send us materials on WhatsApp and other social media platforms to enhance our coverage. Somebody takes a decision on a whim that for whatever reason there is a threat, they close it down. That harms everybody, that hurts us, that would actually create more chaos than what they are anticipating.
So we come in.
Yeah, in as much as what is happening currently, I think the latest issue is with the Central Regional NDC chairman.
Yeah.
Traveling, and this story started over the weekend on social media. And speaking to him this evening on our news, I realized...
listen, he was very hurt.
Yeah, he is very hurt. And anything that borders on anybody's integrity, it is not anything that you just brush aside. And I think, yes, social media is being abused. Currently, it's being abused. You read some posts. It's not just social media. There are some sites that have been created. I just read one, Ekweadonko donates 5 TVs to the School of the Blind. And I said, oh, how? Like, it's funny. And there are some sites like that. And so if you want to target, then you target well. I know there is NITA. I've forgotten their full name, but they control their space with regards to internet. And I believe they can regulate if we give them the push. But total closure on election day, that would be a big blow.
I don't believe in total closure, but I just...
Yeah, for regulation, yes.
I'm just arguing from the side that we've built this culture, and that's what I did on That's My Opinion this evening, that we seem to just want the right. As for responsibility, don't come and ask us.
I think it's not even been abused in Ghana that much. You go outside and Ghanaians outside, these voice notes, insulting each other, and it's getting serious. We are not doing... So, we've not even gotten there yet.
But the reason why elsewhere, who respect both, they take their responsibilities as well as they want to enjoy their rights, is that human beings everywhere have to be forced to take responsibility. Everywhere. And you have lived outside this country. You know that elsewhere, you cannot violate the rules and then some godfather somewhere will come and tell the police, let this man go, and they will let you go. So you know that you have to behave, you have to act in accordance with the law. But if you have an arrangement where people can go and snatch ballot boxes, and when they are arrested, people come and plead and then you let them go, you cannot complain when people abuse rights.
That's why you need to get your information from election headquarters. So anytime you get all these messages, just click on the app to check and see if the news is on the app. If it's not there, forget it. It's not valid. But this one says, bravo, Kofi and team. You see, I thought you have to be on my show more often. You see now? Bravo, Kofi and team. Please develop an Apple version for the new app for those of us using iPads.
Yeah, I know that is in the pipeline. Soon it will be launched as well before we get into serious elections this year. And one interesting thing with this new app is you get to listen to radio as well on this app. And it comes in handy. Like, you just open the app and the stories just flow. They are very eye-friendly. The look and feel of the app is quite interesting. Yeah.
So they get the Apple guys. We are waiting for our turn. You offer politicians your platform to make numerous promises which are not fulfilled. You don't hold them to the old promises, but offering them another platform. They will just heat up the system. This is Ni Ayite bringing in that. This one says, election headquarters, super fantastically brutal, just loves it. That's Eric Asante bringing in that. Good evening, Nana. I really like the innovation by Multimedia. Thumbs up, and tell Mr. Malik I need his contact from Kwame China, now in Asante Bekwai. Malik, this is the second guy who needs your contact.
Kwame China.
Good evening. I am Alex in Takrady and enjoying your program. It's very insightful. Kudos to you, Nana, and your team. This one says, this is Golden Atakwating from Tadi. Please, I want to find out why is it only these two parties who are on caucus?
Well, just to respond to that, I think that as the elections, the campaigns heat up, the idea is at some point, joint caucus will be dedicated to the smaller parties. So they will have a say on joint caucus as well, so that they can come and also sell their ideas to the electorate. So they've not been left out. As the elections go on, they will have their own bite on joint caucus.
Good. That story of Aletu Jacob is a setup to justify shutting down social media. Let's be clever for this vampire tactics. Say no to return of the Gabalian rule. Abraham from Agbozome. Messages are coming in very fast. Do we have a ghost NHIL card holders on the voters register? If not, why don't the people want their names to be deleted? Okay. Tune into election headquarters and all this education will be there. I really don't know how your program line up, but I hope you do not go out there as a campaign group for a particular political party. Kweku gave us 2 examples in his earlier submission on the CD and Dumso, and we can easily tell where he stands. Albert from Cape Coast. But Albert, you have to look at the broader picture. Albert, look at the broader picture. Don't pigeonhole my brother. It says, oh, the Lumia platform shouldn't be left out. Oh, everybody wants this app. So I think we need to tell the app guys to put. Kofi, you're a great man. Keep it up. I like your posture on Joy News, but why is it that you people focus only on the 2 political parties alone? This is Atta, Albert, and Sunyani, but Maliki said that the opportunity will come, right?
Yep. And beyond just that, the coverage itself, when we do stories, in fact, this afternoon, I got a call that the CPP was going to the Electoral Commission to submit their audited accounts. I detailed somebody to cover it. It doesn't have to always be MPP NDC, and we don't always cover MPP NDC. The reality is that these 2 dominant parties, they tend to have the resources. They tend to organize activities far more than the other political parties. So if you follow the coverage, you may feel that it is the media that are giving unbalanced coverage to the political parties. Far from the truth, it is simply because they organize more activities, because they have the resources. So you will always cover them, because you can't say on a particular day when PPP or PSC or CPP is not organizing an event and NDC or MPP organize an event, you won't cover it. Or if you cover an NDC event today, you cannot say that you will not cover NDC event tomorrow because the other smaller parties haven't done anything. We try to give balanced coverage to all the political parties because, as I said earlier, we don't get involved in the decision-making process. Our job is to tell the people what the story is. And somebody is picking on something Kofi Aduma says. If a politician who understands the in and outs of the management of currencies goes to a village and for whatever reason takes undue advantage of the people's ignorance and tells the people that it is the doing of a particular government, that is why $1 now exchanges into nearly 4 cedis, and that is a good thing. As a journalist, you have an obligation and a duty imposed on you by the Constitution to explain to this person that it is not quite that simple. It is not that straightforward. That whilst you can get your $1 and change it to 3.7 or 3.8, there are persons who do not have family members abroad and who do not have access to the dollar, that when the dollar goes up or when the cedi depreciates, that there is a rippling effect in terms of the cost of goods and services for everybody. So if I don't have a relation abroad who sends me dollars that I can change, and yet I have to go and buy an item which was bought at $1 and converted into cedis, and I now have to pay more, then I don't gain. So if a politician tells me that because $1 now changes for 3 cedis 50 or 3 cedis 70, that is good, I have an obligation to explain to people that it is not that simple. That is not politics. That is just doing my job.
Kofi, you see, the fear of being tagging, like this message that came, makes sometimes, you know, as a media man, you think, well, hold on, if I say this thing, I'll be tagged, so I might as well just gloss over it. As election headquarters are coming and you need to be bold to let people understand, just like what Malik has said, are we able to do it this time to say, look, this is it? I mean, if the minority have done something and
I allow you to decide which way you go.
No, but then somebody said, look, you're giving me 2 facts, but they're all against the minority. Therefore,
yes, the other one with regards to electricity. Yes, we in the city consume much electricity than those in the rural areas. Secondly, we abuse, let me use that word, we abuse the energy. With regards to deep freezers, people having their air conditioners on even at odd times. Yes, and so if those in the rural areas are getting constant energy, if you do your calculation well, it could be that the power that is being transported to Kokomlemle alone can supply maybe the whole Brekum. And so if they take Kokomlemle off, Brekum will be on. So if you give me that justification, yes, I will understand. But if you tell me you are doing that, the understanding should be that well for us to be able to tell if you are doing proper campaigning or propaganda. And so these were just scenarios I gave. But that doesn't mean, yes, what the politician is doing is right or wrong. But I'm telling you, we here at the election headquarters will try to digest these campaign promises and all that has been said. Then we allow you to make your own informed decision.
On that note, and I know for a fact, and you know, my uncle who lives in East Legon, for data protection, I'll save the names, but they are there sitting with the ECG boss, not this one, but an older one. Okay. And then he gets a call to say Sunyani is up. Say, really? Take out East Legon. He says, what do you mean? Within 5 minutes, boom, East Legon was up. You see, yes, Sunyani is back home. Wow. So they took off East Legon and they were able to supply the whole of Sunyani. So yes, I understand that.
It's interesting. My father calls me from Bekum and asks, what is with this Dumso? We don't have Dumso here. So you get there and there is no Dumso there. And so,
but I think the explanation should be that,
the explanation should.
If it's just one, you know, community and it's going to serve a whole township, let's sacrifice. Yeah. But the way we explain it, I didn't tell you why I wasn't going to vote, right? Or why I'm contemplating or why I'm not keen on voting. Stay tuned, I'm coming back. I have to tell you. Okay, I guess I have to tell you why I'm not so keen on voting. 2 reasons. Number one, I haven't heard any party talking about a mindset revolution. And 2, nobody's talking about the environment. So to me, everything they're doing is just noise. If you're not going to change our mindset, and if you're not going to look at the environment and raise our way, we are poisoning water, depleting our forest, you're creating a job in which environment for me? So personally, that's my person. I don't find it keen to waste my time in queue for somebody who's not going to help change the mindset or look after or restore my environment. So that's what I want to hear from, you know, election headquarters.
Okay, Dana, the reason why nobody's talking about it is because the message won't sell. If you were, because the politicians are very smart people, they know what the people want to hear. They know how to craft a message such that it will sell. So when Kofi is talking about people telling others that, look, previously if you had $1, you would get maximum 2 cedis. Now you are getting three cedis plus. So things are better now. They know why they are doing that. They know it's not right, but they know why they are doing that, because that message is persuasive. So nobody's going to come and tell you that, oh, we will stop Galamsey and your water bodies, we will save them. Who's going to buy that? Who is going to listen? If you follow what has happened with ballot box, even corruption, the number of people who say corruption would determine who they vote for is very insignificant. Because the things that determine who they vote for are transient matters such as personal gain. How do I benefit from the person personally? That will determine who they vote for. So if we go and talk about the environment and changing of mindset, that is such a highfalutin idea, Nana, and we must admit this. That is such a highfalutin idea to go and tell my grandmother in the village that you want to talk about changing of mindset. It means nothing to them. So you go and tell them that, okay, this is your dusty road, we will come and put bitumen on it. That's more appealing to them. It doesn't matter where you get the bitumen from. If you cut down all the trees to put the bitumen on it, they are happy. So that's why the politicians are not telling the message that you want to hear. Of course, they can segment the message such that one part of the message will be appealing to persons such as yourself, and another one will be appealing to my grandmother in the village.
Kofi, so what would be our role as media people to let people understand that, listen, it doesn't matter how big your road is, if your water is poisoned, you're doomed? I mean, what's our role?
That wouldn't be easy. You know, people vote for various reasons. Someone will tell you, I'll vote for this man because he's tall. I'll vote for this man because he's short. And so with regards to issues, it's quite difficult. And so we will do our best and leave the rest. But in terms of coverage, we'll give our best. That we can promise our viewers for
This one
the
says,
coverage.
it's true. The message won't sell. Talking about mindset and the environment is usually spoken about by the minority parties. I think the NCCE should up their game. From Senyo in Kolebu.
How many people even vote based on these political debates?
Probably it's just me then. So
Yes,
there's just
no,
one vote
I
lost.
did once as well. Gusita no impressed me then, and I voted for him. I knew he was not going to win, but I voted for him because, yeah.
Could be a very old man.
But yeah.
And so, Nana, so
I have 1 minute to running
okay,
out for me.
So election headquarters, as we say, this is the epicenter of the elections. And we have done it before. Kofi said we have the track record. We have demonstrated that we can give you balanced, unbiased, verified, checked information that will inform you and determine who you vote for. And we do this via a number of vehicles. I've spoken about ballot box. I've spoken about the SMS roadshow, the Super Morning Show roadshow. We have constituency diaries. We have Crossfire, where we bring the fiery speakers of the various parties to come and debate so that we can gauge the political temperature.
We are introducing a new one called Agrada, and as the name suggests, Thunder, and it's not going to be easy. That is a new one coming on Adom
So I'm
TV
speaking
as well.
about caucus. We are doing caucus already, and then we are doing voters' voice, so that those issues that are not on the table, but ordinary voters sitting there somewhere in a Dumasa, for example, can have a voice, and the person's voice will be heard. Somebody may be persuaded, and then an action may be taken which will benefit the people in that person's category. So, but of course, there still are more programs that we will roll out. It's just that we don't want to reveal all of them now.
Nana, and we promise we will be going all in to get them the information. I remember I've been beaten twice. In fact, one was stripped naked.
Kukumoti Power.
Yeah, Kukumoti Power is also on radio and on TV as well. That is also one program that we'll be looking at the power of the tongue.
Let me crack this one quickly. It says, Nana, please don't try to pollute your listeners of voting or not. Politicians know what the people want and want to hear. Mindset changing an environment lies in each individual. We don't really need somebody to change our own bad habits. This is Akwesi Drobo St. Mary's Hospital. As for me, if you don't talk to me about environment and mindset, we're all wasting our time, because you can build a gutter from here to London and we'll put the rubbish in it again. So that's where my challenge is. But hey, that's just one vote, so it's no big deal.
The
but
NCC
guys,
should be doing that.
The NCC should up their game. But guys, you know, from the messages I'm getting, and thank you all those who sent messages in, you know, it's just still flooding in. It tells you that they've been very, 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 election headquarters and educative program. What a beautiful, thank you so much, guys. And thank you too at home for watching and contributing. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. I think tomorrow we are looking at actually environment, talking about water disaster. We're talking to Professor Chris Gording at Legon. So you have to tune in tomorrow. Hey, thank you very much.